This is my favorite quote on innovation. The key to innovation is to manage the interaction between explicit and tacit knowledge. Ikejuro Nonaka is the co-author of the book, The Knowledge Creating Company. Please check it out. Today, we'll take a journey through the power of knowledge management, and I will demonstrate how it can drive personal growth and company-wide innovation. From spark to flame, we'll be covering a knowledge management methodology called a community of practice. By bridging the gap between what we know and what we feel, intuition and experience, we'll unlock a culture of innovation that ripples across teams, projects, and our entire industry. Why now? Because the spark is already lit. Because our people are already sharing time to help others. Because every day we wait, we risk losing valuable knowledge, engagement, and momentum. Let's formalize what Andres had started in the OpenX workshop. Let's build a network of communities that connect people to knowledge and capabilities. Let's turn relationships into rocket fuel. Let's transform stories into strategy. And let's elevate collaboration into co-creation. Let's lead the change together. The power of a community starts with introducing who we are to our community. What drives us? What inspires us? I'm a free spirit, free thinker, and creative problem solver. I always take a people-first approach to everything I do. I lead with love and respect always. My life mission is to help others succeed through improving their life at work and personally. I call this innovation. I have 35 years of AEC industry knowledge and experience, leading change through process improvement and digital transformation. My current career objective is to transfer my knowledge to the next generation of innovators. My business objective is to drive transformation through connecting people with knowledge and capabilities through the power of knowledge management in a role of operational excellence. My motto is to inspire one person at a time. Change is the only constant in life, and time is the only true measure of value. Why? Because it is the only irreplaceable resource we have. It gives meaning to what we do. Innovation is the answer to change, but as humans, we instinctively are averse to change. Why? It is for our survival, for our safety. But as humans, we are also blessed with creativity, reason, logic, and opposable thumbs. It is part of our DNA. We are inherently designed to solve complex problems. In today's world, it is ever more accelerating. Our industry is experiencing an explosion of change in many forms. So the dilemma exists, not because we don't want to change. It's because we are just trying to survive. The caveat is that we must change or innovate to survive in this ever-changing world around us. Another power of three. In life, we learn, we grow, and we move forward. What is innovation? There are so many perspectives about what innovation means to each of us. I'll state that innovation is not technology. AI, robotics, reality capture, BIM, and VDC are not innovation in themselves. Technology is a vehicle or enabler that people leverage to accelerate innovation. When you boil the term innovation down into its simplest form, innovation simply means improving life. Innovation always begins with a problem to solve that people face. It is a human-centric approach to creative problem solving. The primary goal must be focused on our people first, followed by a focus on our client. We solve our problems to create value for our clients. To innovate, we must inspire someone. engage them in a new way, partner, collaborate to solve the problem. The AEC industry challenge is not with technology. It is with a lack of education and change management of people to adopt new processes and the technology that enables us to innovate. A good friend and amazing superintendent at Mortenson once said to me, "Hey Rick, I'm all for this technology, but help us understand how to use it in our daily work. Don't just swoop in and sell us on this promise. Show us the way. We want a better way, but don't have the time to learn on our own. Isn't that your job? Teach us, educate us, and we will see change happen faster." Now let's look at technology. Technology has three key objectives: to improve communication of our people. In our AEC arena, it is through the visual medium with information exchange. Two, to enhance stakeholder collaboration to solve problems and optimize processes by the people performing those processes. Third, the result of implementing technology in our process that our people perform is to drive faster, earlier, and better informed decision. The latency of decisions is the key to leveraging technology. So remember, technology is a tool, not innovation. All right. Tacit knowledge is personal, experiential, and intuitive knowledge that is difficult to articulate or transfer to others through writing or speaking. It is acquired through personal experience and is often described as know-how or experiential learning. Examples include a person's skill at riding a bike, recognizing faces, or knowing how to de-escalate a difficult client situation. It's difficult to formalize. It is the opposite of explicit knowledge, which can be easily written down and shared. It's personal and subjective. It is shaped by an individual's unique beliefs, values, and experiences, acquired through experience. It comes from practice, hands-on learning, and personal interaction, rather than from books or formal training alone. And it is action-oriented. It helps people perform tasks, solve problems, and make decisions, often using intuition and pattern matching. I'll take you on a little journey back in time. I started my career unofficially as a gopher at the age of 15. We lived in a rough neighborhood, so whenever I was not in school, my dad brought me to his work on the job site. It was a bit different back then. My favorite time of the day was lunch. Why? Because it's when we all gather to share stories about our lives, eat, and learn together. At 11 a.m., my dad gave me money to run down to the corner bodega to buy sandwiches, drinks for the guys. I would run back, set up for lunch, find a quiet spot on the job site, and call the guys. During lunch, my father always led the discussion, which started off with personal stories about growing up in the Caribbean, at the beach, cookouts, what they ate. I felt like I had such a boring life. But then it always moved into teaching our people the ins and outs of the trade. He demonstrated processes like soldering copper, which solder we should be using for 95.5 or 50/50, or how to use a new rigid 3000 pipe threading machine. He taught us the physics behind gravity systems and things like static pressure. We learned as a unit together through tacit knowledge. This was my first encounter with a community of practice. You see, we all got better at the same time. I learned by listening and watching because Dad wouldn't allow me to do anything other than fetch material and tools and haul it to where it needed to be for our workers. But by the time I was 18, I started architectural school, and I was also a full-fledged pipe fitter foreman leading a crew of 3. Years of tacit learning through listening and watching, it was time to put my knowledge into action. We never turned this explicit knowledge into documented knowledge, but some of the crew went on to start their own plumbing and heating businesses, and some were very successful. Lessons learned from my dad. Son, we help others succeed, and through that, we succeed. This was my spark that ignited my drive for leading change. Community of practice. What is a community of practice? It is a group of people who share a passion, they learn together and solve problems through ongoing interaction. It's when they come together under a common theme or purpose. They build trust among members in order to share tacit knowledge, thereby developing a shared practice, which creates collective intelligence, which becomes implicitly held knowledge within each member of the community. It's not a committee, right? COPs are voluntary, driven by shared goals, not mandates, and they thrive on storytelling. Explicit knowledge is information that can be readily articulated, codified, and shared in formal formats like documents, books, or databases. It is based on facts, theories, and procedures that are easy to communicate and can be stored for others to access, such as in a company manual or a scientific paper. This is in contrast to tacit knowledge, which is personal, experience-based, and more difficult to transfer. Back on the rig time machine, a bunch of BIM and VDC folks from the AEC industry met twice a year and shared our tacit knowledge at a conference called the AGC BIM Forum. We collected, shared our experiences, and realized we had the same problem. We were all trying to solve the same problem within our firms or the industry. So we decided to transform that tacit knowledge into explicit knowledge by connecting people with knowledge and capabilities. We worked on several documents that became industry standards, one being the Level of Development Manual, or simply LOD Matrix. The transformation was in the conversion from tacit to explicit. It scaled across the globe once that happened. None of us were paid. In fact, we were mostly competing as firms. But we realized that to drive change, we had to create one source or standard or starting place so we all build and improve from. This is the power of collective intelligence. There are three components of a community of practice: a domain, what we do, an area of expertise and core professional activity, a community, who we do it with, relationships built through discussions, activities, and learning, and a practice, what we do together, a creation of a body of knowledge, stories, tools, and initiatives. Now here's a recipe for success, and it starts with trust and psychological safety. Can we ask the dumb question? But like Andre said, there's no stupid questions. Can you admit mistakes here? That's where growth happens. Active leadership. It's about champions who guide, not control. It's not about having a boss lead the discussion. It's about having the empowerment of people to share their tacit knowledge. It's about shared goals and passion. Look, we are all here to revolutionize the AEC industry. But what's your why? Help me understand so we can work together. We share the same passion. We want to drive improvement. That's why we're here. And then providing platforms for knowledge sharing, to provide resources and tools for our people. The key is to empower this community with a purpose or a business problem to solve. You see, creating a business objective that allows the community to get support and funding needed to spend time, non-tool time, on value creation activities. I mentioned storytelling before. Storytelling is a powerful way to translate tacit knowledge, your personal experience, intuition, and gut feelings, into a form that others can understand and connect with. On their own, facts and data, explicit knowledge, can be informative but are rarely inspiring. They form the skeleton of a message. It's your tacit knowledge that provides the soul. By weaving these two types of knowledge together, your story becomes both incredible and authentic. This combination is what moves an audience from simply understanding information to feeling inspired and persuaded to act. The spark ignites when you integrate both tacit and explicit knowledge together. This is the genesis of true innovation, connecting people with knowledge and capability with a purpose. Back to our time machine, circa 2005 to 2015. Now let's dive into the value of a formal community of practice. In this example from Mortenson Construction, the community of practice was established by company leadership with a single purpose of building the capacity and capabilities of our people closest to the work. I had the privilege of helping build and lead this company-wide community of practice for over a decade at Mortenson. It was truly the favorite part of my career. The relationships we built, the trust, the camaraderie was amazing. Together we transformed a company, one person, one project at a time, which ultimately led to accelerating change for the entire AEC industry. And we did this through a community of practice. Success was realized because leadership empowered their people with a purpose to improve our work lives and business outcomes through the power of knowledge management or innovation. I'll share some background. This video was internal marketing to share the IDAT, or Integrated Delivery Advancement Team's official charter, our purpose for our people and the business. This was all created by the people closest to the work, the tip of the spear, as David Mortenson and Dan Johnson used to say. This wasn't just a community of practice, it was part of our DNA to learn, grow, and move forward. It was part of our job description and performance reviews. It was directly connected to our growth as individuals and into leaders within the company and at the industry level. Necessity breeds innovation. A little story. For context, Derek Coons, the now CEO of Mortenson, he hired me back in 2005, and he has been a close friend and mentor ever since. He was actually a PM, a project manager, on the Walt Disney Concert Hall back in 1998, where Frank Gehry delivered the first 3D model, before it was called BIM, as a contract deliverable, a precedent in our industry. And the 2D drawings were referenced for bidding purposes. The Walt Disney Concert Hall project team were, in fact, the OG of BIM. Derek and the other project leaders had to figure out how to use this new 3D deliverable to plan, manage, and build this project. This necessity was the spark that ignited a transformation at Mortenson. After the project, every project leader went to different business units with a new mission to pay it forward. A few years later, in 2003, the IDAT was established. So for those thinking that BIM and BDC is a roadblock to leadership, think again. The success of my career is fully contributed by the power of driving change, not as a leader, but as an educator, a connector, a change agent, connecting people to knowledge and capabilities. Every role I had over the last 25 years did not exist before. No title ever prevented me from facilitating or driving change. I saw a problem that people were facing, and I partnered with them to figure it out together. The value of communities of practice is not just for the organization. It is for your self-growth that will help you accelerate your career. It's about finding out your people. It's about connecting you with other passionate people who share similar challenges and have a drive for improvement. The third leg of innovation is to partner. Innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum or in solo mode. It is a team sport. When we work together, we can solve any problem faster, better. It is the power of collective intelligence. For the organization, well, the results from Mortenson was clear. We were leading the pack on the innovation front. We broke down silos between projects, business departments, regional offices, and specialty businesses. We shared our knowledge with the industry because we had the mindset of we don't compete with our peers. We compete to what is possible. In 2005, Mortenson was around a $2 billion company with about 2,500 team members. 10 years later, we were a $6 billion firm with over 6,000 people. This was not by accident. It was part of the strategic goal to grow our capability and capacity of our people to create a long-term sustainable business for our people and the communities we lived in. We are already organized for success as we reframe each of our studios as communities of practice. But then we have to ask ourselves, are they? The ingredients are there. So let's think about it. How might we improve or formalize these communities to benefit our people and the organization? How might we improve how we share our tacit knowledge and convert that into explicit knowledge to grow capabilities and capacity of our people across the organization? How might we share better across studios? Think about it. Imagine what could be possible if we organize to harness the collective intelligence of the people closest to the work. I love this quote by Margaret Wheatley. Margaret is an American writer, teacher, and management consultant known for her work on leadership and organizational change. Her career spans decades, applying interdisciplinary insights to help create human-centered organizations and communities. Companies talk about culture all the time. When discussing culture change or innovation, back to my power of 3, inspire, engage, partner. A changing culture starts with inspiring just one person at a time. Once someone is inspired, their attitude changes. Once their attitude changes, if you don't engage them in a new way, the inspiration is lost. Engaging someone equates to teaching them, educating them, showing them a different way. Once you engage them in a new way, guess what? Their behavior starts to change. And this is the start of culture change. This is the second domino that starts a chain reaction that would lead to a shift and change in culture. The final leg or step to culture change is to partner with other people. Create a coalition of change. This ensures the domino continues to get triggered across the organization. It takes time. It takes dedication. It takes commitment at every level of the organization. The I in innovation is about what can I do to start the change. You can start by sharing your knowledge with someone. This is a great way to strengthen and build a relationship and build trust. Remember, inspire, engage, and partner leads to transformation. Before we formalize, let's start thinking about promoting sharing within our studios. It's already happening. People are connecting via MS Teams. Here's a hint. Just record the session. And if good nuggets of tacit knowledge comes out of it that other people can benefit from, just share the link, post it to Synology. Better yet, let's create a video library in SharePoint that everyone has access to, and we start dumping videos around these informal knowledge sharing sessions. Let's find other people we can collaborate with who have a similar problem, and let's talk it through. Better yet, if you find a good nugget, think about working together to document that so other people can have access to it when they need it just in time. Think about our new team members who are learning and growing. No better way to help onboard them. This is an investment in our people. And over time, you'll be amazed with the results. That's a promise. Well, here's some references. Remember the three-legged stool? In life, we learn, we grow, and we move. Knowledge management is nothing new. It's been around for a long time. A lot of smart people have developed methodolgies that I'm just sharing with you. So take the time to educate yourself. Here are some links to learn more about knowledge management. We have AI, just research. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of opportunity to be had. We just have to change our mindset just a little bit. Ignite. Together, we'll light the spark that propels us forward to the next horizon. Remember, Change is the only constant in life, and change is coming. Be ready. You have the playbook. Now go lead. Thank you for your time. Aloha.